I know y'all thought I was gonna come in here and give a different perspective about this money stuff and dating. But if you dumb and don't get it, that's on you. I'm not finna. I'm just not about to go out my way explaining simple stuff to simple people. All right. Hold up. Let's. All right, let's put some stuff in perspective. I said that on the last week's episode to highlight I need people to be realistic with their finances. And the reason why is because y'all are taking up space on the timeline arguing about dumb stuff. If you want a a person to have a certain level of monetary status, you have to be worth that investment. Unless they just want to throw away their money. I know for me, I have standards. And if you don't have the sweat equity or the or come to some level of input, I don't have no use for you. Because they say money can't buy love. That's a lie. Money can definitely buy you love. Money can put a lot of stuff in a person's heart to make them do things that they normally wouldn't do. And sometimes it's better to have the resources that you would like to use for the things that you want than to not have them and complain about the fact that the game ain't fair. Because guess what? The game ain't fair. And sometimes you can have all the money in the world, but it's somebody that no matter how much money you got, they won't touch you with a 10-foot pole. And at the end of the day, that's their choice. I'm only here to inspire people to be realistic because that's what I had to teach myself. I thought if I changed the way that I dressed, the way that I behaved, my financial status, that it would put me in certain positions to negotiate relationships with people, and not just romantic relationships. It was a desire to be amongst people that weren't in my sphere based off of my status. And what I learned too quickly, sometimes no matter how much you elevate and improve, those people do not want you in those circles. And you just have to take it on the chin and move forward. Pause if necessary. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. But you follow me here. The choice is yours. Let's dive into some of that whole spiel because I said a lot in a little bit of time. You are solely responsible for how you present yourself to other people and how you show your value. Because your value and people's perception of you is going to dictate how they treat you. No matter how much you have or how much you don't have financially and or your appearance. Because some people might not ever find you as attractive as you would like to be perceived. Okay, it might have been very mean to say if you broke, you don't need to date. But it's just a lot of bums out there in relationships just stinking up the place. Yeah, I said it. And I'm not saying money is everything, but I know a lot more people that are broke that complain than people that are wealthy about dating. I just don't be spending money on women in dating because I feel like that's too close to tricking and I just can't go down bad like that. However, if I do like someone, I will make sure that I show them through experiences, whether that be showing them things that they've never seen and or making memories that will make it harder for the next guy that they try to date. Because I might not be spending a lot of money, but I'm consistent, I'm thoughtful, and I am intentional with my actions. Because it does not take much to impress a person by just showing up. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're dating someone that has a high class lifestyle, then you better be ready to experience high class activities because they not go want to appreciate the little things. However, there's a very small pool of people that make over 6 figures in the US, and the reality is you ain't gonna be able to get every 6-figure earner out there. Because some six-figure earners don't care how attractive you look. You got to pay like your way in this relationship. Because it's a lot of pretty people out there, but it's some essential life skills that are needed to sustain a household. And these are the skills that I think about when I'm dating someone. Because the moment that you cross that, whenever you put yourself in a position to where you can start a family with someone, that becomes a reality. I know for me, in dating, I am very financially cost effective. And I used all those words to just say, I'm cheap. I do not be tricking. However, I pay for a premium experience when I'm doing something. And I value the work that I put in to obtain the lifestyle that I have. I don't lead with money in dating because at the end of the day, that money can come and go. But if you don't like me for who I am in my core, then we ain't gonna ever work out because, like I said, I'm cheap. And not cheap in the terms of I don't want to experience things of higher quality. I'm cheap in the terms of I got a dating budget. I allocate X amount of dollars per month to go to dating. And when that money is spent, it's spent. What does that mean? I'm not out here trying to live above my means romantically. Because whatever you do to get a person, you gotta keep doing it to keep them happy. And sometimes, a lot of times, that can be expensive. So the reason why I said last week, if you broke, you don't need to date, because sometimes your level of finances might not be able to sustain the woman that you want, or man in that case, because a lot of men nowadays are saying they wanted to be treated a certain way. They have these expectations. They expect to be courted. That's cool and all. More power to y'all if that's the life y'all want to live. But my parents, in their first apartment, they slept on the floor. I had a bed, but my parents slept on the floor. My mom made deodorant for my dad when they went to work. They had a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. You talk about struggle love. Struggle love was real in my parents' household. They was blessed enough to buy a home a couple years later. My dad worked very hard to be able to sustain and maintain that house. And it taught me the value of hard work. It also taught me that you don't have to have a lot of money to fall in love with somebody and keep them happy in a relationship. Unless that person has a high level of financial expectations. And the irony is, my mom, she didn't grow up with money at all. But a lot of men, when she was younger, tried to court her, had a lot of money. I don't know how she landed on my pops, but kudos to him because he pulled my mom. However, it just put stuff into perspective for me. I don't know how much money y'all think I make, but it isn't correct. It's different. The reason why I gotta say that is because my brother want to play on the internet and put stuff up out there that might be false. I'm not telling y'all how much money I make. I make far less than what you think I make. It's easier that way. But it don't matter because I don't let people borrow money. If you don't know, I do not. I give to 2 charities a year. And those are the only charities I give to. If you find yourself on hard times and need some money, I am not the person you want to call. And the reason why is because I like to ask questions. I need to know everything about where my money is going. And if I'm not going to be able to write it off on my taxes, you ain't getting it from me. Unless somebody bleeding or dying. And if they are bleeding or dying, I want to know how they ended up bleeding or dying. Because if it is for medical emergencies, there are proper ways to get you the funding that you need that do not involve my finances. I love everybody and I care about everybody, but I care about the hard work that I do more. And if you mean to tell me you think I'm going to sacrifice so that you can be comfortable when I've already stressed myself out to have this career, you're sadly mistaken. And yeah, that might hurt some feelings. That might make some people uncomfortable. But hey, I give my tithes, I have offerings, and I give for gifts. Me and Jesus cool. I realize calling y'all broke would create so much conversation in my life. But let me clear the air here. Work harder. I'm gonna reiterate that because if you broke, you need to work harder. Life ain't fair, but I recommend everybody find ways to get it the legit way and pay your taxes. And also, above all, make sure Jesus get his 10%. Tithing is very important. And I stress tithing because in my faith, you're supposed to give 10% of your earnings to God consistently every month throughout the year forever. And I don't play about that. Ever since I got my first check, I made sure I gave God 10%. And the reason why I do that is just because I don't want to rob God. And a lot of people have different levels of justification for why they don't give in their tithes. That's fine. But at some capacity, you should be giving at least 10% of your earnings to some ministry, whether that be a personal ministry where you feed the homeless, whether you provide resources to the homeless shelter. But when I get my check every 2 times out the month, 10% of that go to Jesus, no questions asked. And that is the foundation of my financial stability. And a lot of the blessings that I get come from the fact that I'm a good steward of my resources. I give to scholarship funds. I give to nonprofits, as well as I sponsor some youth employment program that I benefited from as a young kid, because every summer I got to have a summer job where I would get paid a check every month. And it helped me out. I was able to buy some sneakers. It helped pay for football and other little things that I wanted at the time. But part of this, rule number 1, I pay my tithes on time. I've struggled to put together an episode talking about financial literacy for a while now. And the reason why is because I don't think that my approach to financial literacy is applicable to my audience. I'm not calling y'all broke. Not this time. That was for other people. But the people that actually listen to what I have to say, there's a lot that goes into how I manage my finances. Part of that also is growing up middle, low income. And I say middle, low income is because we did not go without our lights, water, food in the fridge, a place to stay. But we also did not have an abundance of resources. Like my parents worked very hard to give us the stuff that we needed, and they also were able to give us some of the stuff that we want. However, we lived way below our means because of the leadership style that my father had, meaning he wanted us to learn how to appreciate hard work and make sure that we maintain stability in how we balance our resources. And that has matriculated into how I carry myself financially. I don't really spend a lot on myself, but I'm starting to treat myself more now because I've reached a level of stability in my life, and I have a plan that is going to sustain me throughout the next, essentially, so I get old and wither away. And part of that is I don't live in the moment of living above my means. And a lot of people do because they want to stunt and keep up with people on the internet. And that's just not my forte. I have the things that I'm passionate about, that I enjoy, that bring a bit of smile or a sense of fulfillment that is material, but that is not my identity. And I had to learn at a young age, it's not about what you put on, it's what you got inside of you that will transcend anything that you wear. Because if your personality is whack, but you fly, people not really go want to hang around with you. And getting back on track, another thing that I like to do is I invest my money into the stock market. And that is where I get my residual income from on the side. The way I do that is I purchase stocks on an annual basis and I just let them sit for the year. Some of them go up, some of them go down. I just hold on to them and I use like a 5-year plan so that after purchasing the stock, the hope is that over the next 5 years it will incrementally increase till I make a profit. And that acts as a savings account. Because if you put your money in a savings account, you're getting pennies on the dollar on an annual basis. And that is ridiculous because guess what? The banks are investing your money in the stock market. So I employ myself to be my own investment account. And I also have a IRA that I opened. And you can look this stuff up. But look into opening an IRA because you can put in about, I think it's $6,000 a year into a savings account that's in the stock market. It's kind of like a retirement fund, but it's a little different. And just watch the money grow. And you could even have your bank automate the trade so that you see the value go up, and it can potentially go down, but it is gaining value over time. I make sure that I use every resource appropriately on my budget. Meaning that when I get paid per check, I know where every dollar is going across my expenses. Whether that be my bills, my food, entertainment, um, things that I want to purchase for myself, as well as emergencies. I budget for those things, and I withhold myself from breaking that budget so that way I can make sure that I have a peace of mind that if something crazy happened, I got the funds prepared for it. Another tip is I use my credit card like a debit card. Every time I go to the store, have to pay for something or want to buy something, I buy with my credit card and I take the money from my check-ins to my credit and use that. And when you use a credit card, you get cash back rewards points. So they pay you for using the credit. And you don't have to buy things and make payment plans because that's what they get you. When you buy something that's above your means and put it on that credit card, you got to make them payments every month or however it is, and then you got to pay the interest from that loan that they giving you. And to me, that never made sense because I don't believe you should be buying stuff that you can't afford. But some people choose to do those things. That's just not the lifestyle I live. The only thing that I believe you should ever buy that you just can't outright afford is a home, maybe a car, and that's really about it. Everything else is like optional.